how much you consume versus how much you produce. If you want to make more, you got to produce more. Same thing as a diet. You're going to lose body fat if you are consuming less than you are producing in the gym. Your relationships. Do you have a high quality relationship in your life? Or do you have a low quality fantasy relationship with the Tinkerbell of porn? You never get to Neverland. You're Peter Pan. So are you Peter Pan or are you producing?
Wade, talk to me about the Joe Weider lie and how believing into this lie when you're 15 years old changed the trajectory of your life forever.
Yeah, my sister, who inadvertently was dying of cancer, we didn't know at the moment. She just before her diagnosis, she gave me this bodybuilding magazine. It had Troy Ciclotto on the cover. This beautiful fitness girl. This blonde guy just won Mr. California, had all these muscles and this gorgeous bikini. You know, here I'm a little frail, 130-pound guy living in a rural town, and but there was no town. It was like 5 miles to the town, to the village, and in the middle of the woods, in the middle of nowhere. And here is this whole life. And at the time, Arnold Schwarzenegger was also the biggest name in Hollywood. He was a Mr. Universe, Mr. Olympia. He was in, he's married to the Kennedys. He's like make the highest grossing actor. He's everywhere. And I'm looking at my life and I'm going, that looks like a better program than what's currently available to me, like hunting, fishing, working in a farm, working in a labor thing, working in the woods. And I was like, okay, I need to do this. And one of the things that great marketers do is they create a contrast to where you are versus a hyper like optimized version, like a superhero aspect. And that's very appealing to young men. It is the hero's journey. Everybody has problems, especially as a teenage man, because you're not really a man. You're trying to be a man. You're halfway between a man and a boy. And when you compare yourself to men, you're like, I don't really measure up. That guy could kick my butt. This guy, I'm not making that kind of money. I want to get a car that like runs, let alone drive a Ferrari. So if you look at Hollywood and if you look at Joe Weider in particular, because that's a version of it as a marketing, he put out this image that if I had these type of muscles and was winning these type of bodybuilding shows, I get this girl, which driven mad with testosterone, as every 15-year-old boy says, I'm in, I'm all in, I'm doing whatever it takes. I read Arnold Schwarzenegger's book, Education of a Bodybuilder. He's talking about hard work, self-discipline, and a positive attitude. Everybody I knew worked hard. Self-discipline and a positive attitude, that was a completely revolutionary concept to me. And so I started building my vision of competing in Mr. Universes, living in Venice Beach, California, training with all my heroes, running a supplement company that went around the world. And so eventually it worked out, but there was a lot of missteps on the way to that vision.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I love that articulation there. And, I think speaking with you as somebody that's built such a large company with BioOptimizers, like having that marketing look at how you see the world is truly unique. Did you know that then, or I guess when did that realization, like there was this dream, this hope, determination, self-talk, discipline. When did you connect the dots, I guess, as an older man that, hey, that actually is now playing out in my life and it's contributing to some of the success that I've had in business and other realms?
1998. So I'm going back there because I'm almost 52 now. So in 1998, I had been essentially, I went to my first national championship. So I had won the provincial champ. I didn't win anything for 10 years. I trained for 10 years, never won anything. 10th year, I win everything. And I get to go to the national championships. And I go to the national championships. And, I got the best coach in the world. And when I'm backstage at the national championships, it was like a MASH unit. In my category, there were 6 former champions who were living in the basement of their parents' house. They were 10 years older than me. They were taking a prodigious amount of drugs and anabolics. Most of them were involved in some form of criminal activity to support their lifestyle so they could do this sort of thing. And when I got done that show, I didn't win that show. I sat on the steps out front of in Toronto with the winner, because we had been training together the last couple of weeks. His name was Eric Alstrap, and he's depressed. I'm like, dude, what? Like, congratulations. What's up? And he's like, dude, I am now the worst pro on the circuit. What am I going to do to go next? And at that time, we had Dorian Yates was handing the torch to Ronnie Coleman. Well, at that stage, after all of those years of training, I realized I'm probably not going to be Ronnie Coleman no matter what I do. And the amount of drugs and stuff that you had to use to support that hyperinflated system was like, oh man, this isn't going to work. And so I left the sport that I love because I said, I'm not willing to sacrifice my health. That's not why I got into this for this. Now, the ironic thing is, later on, I kind of understood this. I went into, I started my own nutritional supplement business, and I got involved in the underground party scene. And I just went absolutely bananas in that whole program, almost cost me my life. Got into meditation after a complete collapse of that, and then reinvigorated myself, got into natural bodybuilding later on, and then started winning titles all over the place, and then my whole career took off after it was aligned with my original principles. But what I saw was everyone is presented with this version of reality, and that's only been amplified with social media, and it's attractive to a state. Like, a lot of what Andrew Tate says is very attractive. Is it realistic for the average person to be Andrew Tate? Are you 6'4"? Are you a world champion kickboxer? Have you been in the unique environment and situations that he has, and to blow up? No. Can you learn principles from him? Yes, but you got to be the best version of you. And so what the lie was, the likelihood of me becoming Arnold Schwarzenegger was very low. There's 17 people that's won the Mr. Olympia since 1965. It's the most elite sport ever, right? Okay. But the lie was good enough to get me to the best version of myself, but there was a point where I almost lost myself and I think every man has to find that balance between the motivation of, I'm not where I could be. This is an inspirational figure, but at what is the price to get to that cost, and find the right balance for yourself? And that's a unique thing for each person.
Yeah, I love that so much, man. And I've always said, I think for me, I was fortunate that I'm a 80s kid, 40 years old now, grew up in the 80s, 90s, got into real serious training early 2000s. 2003 was when I really kind of dropped the hammer, did my first bodybuilding show in 2008. There were no tripods, there were no selfies, there were no social media back then. I don't know what would have happened to me if that was the reason why I was doing it. You walk into a gym today, I was training this morning, and you see 6 different tripods of, like, a kid is in his first year and he's filming everything that he's doing. Do you think social media and just the modern technology has been a net positive or net negative for kind of the bodybuilding fitness culture in general?
It's created like, I think social media has exploded the sport. So if I look at competitions, when I was starting out versus competitions now, there's so many more people involved in it. There's so many more people that are being, and they've got a million different categories now. So everybody can kind of find something for their body type. Not everybody can be, 280 pounds on stage ripped, but you can probably find something that's right for you. So I think on one set, the principles that you can learn in self-discipline and becoming the best and taking responsibility for your diet. I mean, this sport is a 24-hour a day sport, which is very unlike anything else. If you can extract the principles out of that without getting lost in social media, it's great. And you can build like, I built a great business as a mediocre bodybuilder. Okay. I'm not that great. I can get to the world championships. I've done it 3 times. But when I walk out on stage, I am not a competitive athlete at the world championship level. I can, use the above the shoulder stuff to get there, but, below the shoulder stuff isn't there. So most people, I think it's detrimental. I think it's even more detrimental for women. I think it distorts the reality for them in such a way. I saw that happen to a lot of women who, women are beauty objects and men are success objects, essentially. And the thing is with women, you have a much narrow window. They got to get their stuff together. And for men, we have a lot more time. The problem, so I would say for most people, it's probably an 80-20 distribution. 80% of people, it's negative. 20% it's positive.
No, absolutely. Yeah. And I think, maybe one thing that it has done on the positive front is, you mentioned for you, you had this realization like, I'm not going to beat Ronnie Coleman. Back in the 80s, 90s, early 2000s, the pathway to make money as a bodybuilder was through winning titles or mainstream sponsorships. I think maybe one positive that's come out of, the current culture is there's opportunities for, if you have a great physique, if you have some knowledge, you start an online coaching business, you parlay that into a supplement company, you parlay that into affiliate deals. Like, it's created almost an economy in and of itself for the people that can extract some of those principles. What would you say are some of the key principles? You said for you, I built a great business as a mediocre bodybuilder by extracting the disciplines and principles. What would you say were some of those core principles that you learned in bodybuilding that carried over into your business? Get back to the show in a second, guys, but real quick, I want to tell you about today's sponsor, Magnesium Breakthrough by BioOptimizers. Do you know if you're getting enough magnesium? Because 4 out of 5 Americans aren't. And that's a big problem because magnesium is involved in more than 300 biochemical reactions in your body. Today, I want to talk to you about the most common signs to look for that could indicate you're magnesium deficient. Listen carefully to the end because there's going to be a special offer happening at the end of this that could be exactly what you need. Are you irritable or anxious? Do you struggle with insomnia? Do you experience muscle cramps or twitches? Do you have high blood pressure? Are you sometimes constipated? There are dozens of symptoms of magnesium deficiency, but these are just a few of the most common ones. Now, here's what most people don't know. Taking just any magnesium supplement won't solve your problem because most supplements use the cheapest kinds that your body can't use or absorb. That's why I exclusively recommend Magnesium Breakthrough by BioOptimizer. It's the only full spectrum magnesium supplement with 7 unique forms of magnesium that your body can actually use and absorb. All BioOptimizer supplements are the best in class, guys. I've been working with and using their products for over 7 years now. For some reason you feel differently, you can get a full refund, no questions asked. They're so confident in this that they're going to offer 365-day money back guarantee. Just go to biooptimizers.com/FrankRich. And in addition, we're going to give you a discount if you use code RICH10 for 10% off. Once again, guys, visit biooptimizers.com/FrankRich or click the link down there in the show notes and use code RICH10 to receive 10% off your order today.
Yeah, discipline over time equals results. So I'm one of those unusual people. I'm the slowest pony in the race, but I was so disciplined. Like, even at, I'd lost straight for 9 years. I didn't see that as negative on my, I didn't see myself as a failure. I'm progressing. So I did have the component of competing against myself. I'm getting better. Eventually I'll get there. But what happened when I got there? And when I mean getting there, I'm talking about having a demonstrable physique that when you walk down the street, everybody says that's an authority, just like a guy driving down the street in a Ferrari or a Bentley, or a guy living in a big house, or having a nice, like, all of those are frames which present you to the world in a certain way. So I earned credibility just from that. That led me to starting my personal training business. I didn't know anything about marketing. I took a position after I went to the 98 Nationals on the West Coast. I went in there, I put my pictures up there. I said, "Hey, I'm training people," or whatever. I got my first couple of clients. And then I knew what I was doing. I knew the principles of doing, and I started sharing that. And so pretty soon all my clients are looking better. And so the high performers in the gym who wanted that next level, the key executives and stuff, they came to me because they said, that guy knows what he's doing. It's proof in the pudding. Being super fit. And one of my very first client to me is a super successful entrepreneur. And he said to me this, I said, I want to learn about like how you're doing this. He's like, dude, what you've done is way harder than making millions of dollars in business. I wish I had what you did. And I'm like, that just blew my mind. So if you're going into this sport as a way to develop yourself and a way to build up authority as a physical presence, as a man, I think it's really valuable. And translating that, you don't have to be a winner to be a great trainer. That great trainer is going to increase your accessibility, because who buys trainers? People that have money. They got money because they're competent in various areas. So all of a sudden, within a couple of years after that, devastating moment, realizing that, I'm not going to be Mr. Olympia, I'm I'm having the top executives in Vancouver, Canada, paying me multiple times a week for me to tell them what to do. So now I couldn't access those people. So now I started learning about the fashion industry. I had a person in fashion. I learned about the airline industry. I learned about corporate businesses. I learned about tax law. I look about marketing. I looked at, like, all of these people were coming to me, and I'm having conversations. We're friends. They're giving me advice. We're hanging out. Like, I'm learning all this information, and that parlayed into my business career. And and Matt and I started our company back in '03. And because I went to the world championships as a natural bodybuilder, competing in the and as a vegetarian, and people said, that's just crazy. I can sell this online. I didn't own a computer at the time. I didn't believe he was making money at the time. He didn't believe I had a computer. We started a business with $100. We started BioOptimizers with $100. My credit, I was the credibility because I had done something other people couldn't. He was the marketer, and now we're probably going to hit Inc. 5,000 third year in a row.
Incredible, man. Incredible what you guys have built. Yeah, we're definitely going to get into that here in a little bit. I had the opportunity to coach and mentor a lot of young men, and guys that are in their early 20s or even in their mid 20s and are kind of lost. It's like, where do I kind of go? Like, what's my purpose? What's my calling? What should I be doing for a living? Like, if you're stuck, I tell so many men, like, get a job in the gym, even if it's working the front desk or it's selling memberships, or take a weekend certification and get your personal training certification, because you're thrusting yourself, like you said, into that environment with people that have disposable income, people that are driven, that are looking to move forward, have this growth centric way of thinking. Your clients are going to be people, like you said, that are business executives that have the disposable income. And then the time that you're not working, spend it on the floor, connecting, networking. I spent 3 years in my mid 20s working in the gym. And it's like, so many great opportunities and business ventures have come out of those relationships for me. And it's interesting. I heard this stat that there's more people that are millionaires in the US versus who have six packs. It's like, to me, it's like getting a six pack was so easy. Not easy, but it was like, it's right out there. Don't eat these foods, train this hard, do this cardio. But to think that there's more people that are millionaires versus have six pack is just kind of an astounding thing to grasp.
I want to comment on that because you're right. There's three areas that I've isolated that will allow anybody listening to this podcast to be successful in life. So if you're a young guy struggling, trying to figure things out, and you focus on these three areas, you'll make millions. I guarantee it. Self-discipline is number one. Dietary regulation and being in shape. It's not the being the shape that is the benefit. It is the discipline it takes to get there. Next thing, get involved in the service industry. Service industry focuses you to connect with people and get away from your computer and learn how to have a conversation with people, how to communicate. And the third piece is service. Find where you can help other people and profit from it. And in order to do that, if you've got self discipline, you already have something to offer. If you are involved in service, that'll get you in the right place, that you learn that. And then the skill that you need to learn is sales. You need to learn the art of selling. And there's nobody better than Jordan Belfort. If you guys have seen his sales course, he's got a sales training course that breaks down the sale and all of the psychological, the emotional, the tonalities, the whole sequence of it. Go take that sales course. Just go do it. Go get a Tony Robbins book, get a Jordan Peterson book, 12 Rules for Life, get a coach and get in shape. You do that, you'll be rich. Period. I know this because everybody I know that has done that gets rich. Like, and I've got hundreds of friends in the industry. That's what they did.
Yep. Amen. Amen. Amen to that. You're talking straight line sales with Jordan Belfort. I've read all the books. I've gone through the training. I started reading Tony way back, Awaken the Giant. God, I was probably 18, 19 years old. And I just saw Jordan Peterson speak live for the third time a couple weeks back. Like, that dude has transformed my life. I mean, you were speaking to the choir here with all of that. So self-discipline, get in the service industry and find your unique gifts and learn how you can add value to others. I want to fill a gap here though before we talk about BioOptimizers, because we open it up. You kind of got the bodybuilding magazine. You kind of found fitness. I know you built a home gym when you were, a teenager. Then there was this bodybuilding career, but in between there was like your life kind of spiraled a little bit, I think, right? And let's kind of talk about what that journey was for you, and then how bodybuilding or some of these things that you've been speaking to got you out of that into the position to do the things that you've done over the last 20 years with Matt and BioOptimizers.
Yeah. So 1998, I finished the contest. I get a contract to go to the West Coast. I'm in Canada at the time. So the Nationals were in Ontario. I was on the East Coast of Canada. I got a contract to open up a nutrition store out on the West Coast. I started my personal training business, and I literally worked, I don't know, 70, 80 hours a week, something like that. I just every day, like 12 hours a day. I just did no days off. Right. So I train in the morning myself, maybe a few clients, open up the store, run the store, train some clients in the evening. I didn't have any money. I had lived in a very frugal life. Um, and I just hustled. And I remember working so hard that some guys approached me and said, "Hey, dude, like you just work all the time. Like, what's like? Don't you have any fun?" I had no interest in being fun. I'd gotten out of the bar scene. I'd been a doorman and a bouncer and a bartender in my previous life, and all the violence that was involved in that, and all the risks. It was all like, I'm not interested in doing this in a big city. Like, I'm going to get killed or knifed or gunned down. And so, anyways, I ended up going out to a party. Long story short, I got introduced into the whole ecstasy field, underground stuff. All of a sudden, I understood all the stuff on rap videos and all this sort of stuff. And I'm going to these things, and it's like, you know what I mean? I'm like, it's all like, okay, I get it now. Here we go. And I had read some books about, which is totally dangerous today, because now fentanyl, like one trip and that's it, it's over. You know what I mean? Like, it's just disastrous. And so what happened is I found out I got the scene. I was really liking it. There's all kinds. So now I'm the fit guy. I got all these, sexy girls around me all the time. I'm living the dream. I'm contracting to get my own supply of this stuff. And then the next thing you know, I'm in the industry. I've got involved with, you know, the wrong type of people and the wrong type of stuff. And it all seems normal. So I started off here. I just wanted to go have a good time. And then slowly but surely, my values kept shifting and shifting, and what became normal. And then finally, I'm over here and I'm in the back of a Lincoln Navigator with a gun to my head in 1 year. How did I go from, hey, I just want to party a little bit, to that? Well, that's what drugs do. They distort your sense of reality. And you start to hang around people who are the same. So you are the summation of the people you hang out with. You're the average of that, period. So if you look around your community and see who, and I got to that, and fortunately I had an intervention. My spiritual teacher came to me in a really ridiculous amount of stuff, and my life transformed. I got into meditation and that sort of stuff, and it took me a couple years to really turn my life around. It wasn't easy. It was hard. Went through a lot of growing lessons, and then that's when I went down. And my way to completely exit was to go to natural bodybuilding, where you were drug tested, and I knew that I couldn't fail the test. I wouldn't fail those tests, and that got me enough momentum that I got out of the whole thing. So spiritual life and bodybuilding. So the iron saved me. The discipline of the iron, the discipline of the training, the discipline of the diet. So what my loss, it got me to a certain point. Then I found the things, that whole psychological ideology collapsed. I went through the party stage, which was really, I was dealing with the depression of that. I didn't know that's what it was. My sociologist tell that, or psychologist. And then I came out of that. And then once again, the iron saved me. But then I implemented these kind of spiritual based principles based out of yoga philosophy, yama and niyama, asana, all that sort of stuff, pratahara, and, breath work, and all this sort of stuff. And by practicing that, I started to unify myself in a directed path that wasn't so distorted and sensory based, right? I need to, I need to satisfy my art to, feel like I'm the man, or have sex with these girls, or feel the sensations of the drug stimulation and the music stimulation. All of those were distractory points that meditation taught me about. I didn't know that. I didn't know that your energy's going out, not in. And that was draining my life force and almost killed me.
Yeah, wow, powerful, man. You opened up, you mentioned hero's journey at the beginning here, and it's like you kind of just outlined like your pathway through that, right? It's like you had this pivotal point where it's like you kind of were lost, you hit the rock bottom moment, you found the mentor, found you, pulled you out of it with the spiritual principles. You had to go on this path, and now here you are, at the end of the journey here, giving back, having these conversations. It's truly unique and inspiring. Not unique, I'd say it's actually everybody's job
Everybody's got to
in the
do it.
world is to everybody has to figure out what is your journey, right? Mine went bodybuilding when I was 15. It's like I was overweight. It was like, how am I going to change that where I'm not the fat kid having to buy husky jeans? Thrust myself into bodybuilding, learn the self-development principles, lost my way, realized I had a pornography addiction for 20 years, spiritual kind of transformation, found Christ, dedicated my life to him. 2019, I get free from pornography. Boom, the light bulb kind of goes off. It's like remove this lens of how I was seeing the world. And I was like, well, people need to hear about this startup podcast. Here we are 4 years later, thousands of lives impacted, families restored, relationships. So it's really, really, really amazing. What, if any, role, because obviously I'm sure with the partying and the drugs, like there was that community component, right? That's why a lot of young men get like caught up in the gang scene, right? It's like if you don't have father figures at home, it's like you feel community from these guys. You probably found some of that in the party scene. What, if any, role did you find in the community of the bodybuilding or even in the business entrepreneurship that really carried you through that? Or were there other organizations or community that you were using?
I'll tell you a very specific moment where it was like, I remember I decided I was partying every weekend. I'd literally get up Friday morning and I would stay up till Sunday night. Okay. Just nonstop partying. Not like no sleep, no nothing, whatever. Just keep going. And how I survived that, I don't know. And this was every week. So I decided one week I'm going to take it off. So I'm lying in my bed, Friday night, and I wake up at like wide awake at 12 o'clock at night. And my brain is going, I wonder what's happening in the scene. It was called the scene. There was a whole bunch of people in this nefarious world, after hours and this and gangs and girls and the strippers and prostitutes and gang members and, everyone else who's falling into this and DJs and music and all this. I remember going that and I walked out to my drawer. I opened up the drawer and here's my capsules, my ecstasy capsules. And I was like, oh, so this is what addiction is. Well, let's see where it goes. I remember that moment. So there was two things. There was the drug, but the drug was a gateway to a sense of belonging. I had lost my belonging in the bodybuilding community because it was like I can't be Mr. Olympia, so that was my goal and this was my things, and I didn't like this. I didn't like the scene that I was involved in at that time, right? I didn't like that world. I was really like this is the thing, and then I went into a worse one. And there was a lot of bodybuilders in that scene, which is ironic. They kind of go hand in hand. When I stepped out of it, I had my spiritual based community. So that became the filler for what I lost in the bodybuilding community, what I lost in the party community, what I lost in the gang community. People will give up their lives to be part of a group. They will. It's more important. It's part of our tribal mentality that's involved. And as soon as you use alcohol, drugs, pornography, anything that impairs your prefrontal cortex, you're running off what I call lizard man. Now, lizard man has three jobs: feed, fight, fornicate. I would use another word, but those baseline drivers, because we got to pass our genes through time. So in order to do that, we need enough food to survive. We've got to defend ourselves so that someone doesn't eat us. And then we've got to replicate. As soon as you add those elements of stimulation, you're not dealing with your thinking process anymore. You're dealing with this lizard man, I call him. And lizard man lives in a cage here in society. And if you give him an opportunity, this guy is coming out and he's raising hell, right? Because that's his job. That is our animal nature as men. And what we have to learn as men is how to harness that animal nature as an engine for good as opposed to an engine of destruction. And if you don't use this and if that's impaired, it's over. It is an engine of destruction.
Yeah, I'm sure you know Dave Asprey. God, it was the first time I had him on the show, probably 3.5 years ago now. Like he broke that down. I don't think he called it the Lizard Man, but it was the feed, fight, fornicate. He had the same kind of, I'd use another word here, but it's respect for the podcast. If How can a guy recognize if he is being controlled by his Lizard Man?
Very simple. Look in the mirror at your physique, look in the bank account of where your money is, and look at your friends and see who they are.
Yeah, powerful.
That's it. These are the numerical. These are how you reduce your life. If you're not in great shape, you don't know if and you don't have a a directive career or money making institution, stuff like that, and your friends are in the same boat. That's you. You're being distorted. And so then you go, okay, what do I do? Well, there's one commodity. So you put that over there. Discipline over what? Time equals result. What it shows there is how disciplined you are. Those are the realities. Okay. Are you taking the time to maintain great friendships? Are you making the time to keep yourself in shape? Are you putting the time in to make yourself financially stable? Money matters. After 150K, not that much, but to 150K, it does. That's been proven in psychological things. So what do you need? So then you need over time. Those three things are going to be totally relevated to how you're spending your time. If you're spending your time, you know, ripping one off while you're watching porn, that's time gone. If you are watching football, like I didn't own a TV for 15 years. I knew that if I turned on the TV, I'm done. How much time are you spending on your phone? How much are you scrolling it? So what is a diet? So if we look at a digital diet, okay, take the time on your phone. They all track it now, right? You can look at your time. Recognize this. Income is directly proportionate to how much you consume versus how much you produce. If you want to make more, you got to produce more. If same thing as a diet. Same thing as a diet. If you're going to lose body fat if you are consuming less than you are producing in the gym. Your relationships. Do you have a high quality relationship in your life? Or do you have a low quality fantasy relationship with the Tinkerbell of porn? You never get to Neverland. You're Peter Pan. So are you Peter Pan or are you producing? And that is look at the time and then you got to say, I need to go on a digital diet. If I'm online, if I'm on my computer, I'm producing, I'm not consuming. Right? That ratio is got, we're all going to consume a little bit. So what's the rule of thumb? 80% producing, 20% not. And if you want to go to the next level, you got to do Pareto's law. You got to go hyper Pareto's law. It's 90, that 80-20 and the 80-20 of that and the 80-20 of that. The more that you refine the efficiency, it's like the efficiency of an exercise, the efficiency of an athletic performance, the efficiency of your business, the efficiency of the distribution of your time. Great book by Dan Martell, Buy Back Your Time. He's a friend of Matt and I. We grew up in the same town. That shows you the discipline of your time management. Right. And what is it's not really time management, it's priority management. What's your priorities? Knock out all your priorities first and then spend 20% on your fun time. Spend 20% there. Go have the relationships. Go watch the UFC on the weekend or go see a football game. That's fine. But you earn that 20%. Earn it.
God, I love that. Love that so much. And I think, there might be a young guy out there listening to this, like, well, Frank, wait, I don't have access to, the entrepreneur friends. It's like, if you're a young guy, it's like, are your friends having the conversations that are about the future, or is it about Friday night or even what you did last week? And like listen to what your friends are saying. I think that's a real clear representation of where they are and are they ones that are going to help move you forward. When you say, hey, I'm going to skip tonight, guys, I'm going to get a gym in session and I'm going to work on a side hustle. They're like, oh, come on, man. Like, it's just one night, like live, like you only live once type of thing. Like, so I think the friend piece is really, really important there. You talked about in the party scene, like there was a lot of the bodybuilders that were kind of caught up in this. And I that was something I realized pretty early on as well. I think a lot of people see the magazines and they see the great physiques, and it's like, that's the pinnacle of health. I know you have what you call like this trilogy of health and fitness, like the three components. Like it's not always about just looking great. I think people see the people that look great, but you and I both know that inside a lot of those people are unhealthy. So talk a little bit about kind of like the trifecta of health and fitness here a little bit.
Yeah, aesthetics, performance, and health. Most of us are attracted to aesthetics. How do you look? And as young men, right, it takes 5, 10 years to build a physique that stands out for most people. It takes 5 to 10 years. So, but there's shortcuts. What's the shortcut? Drugs. So once you get past the psychological aspect of shoving needles in your butt, all the other drugs, it's real easy. So you've bypassed that. So you've already overridden this because you're so consumed by the get big or die trying that everything else. Oh yeah, well this is fine. This guy does, and then the biggest guy in the gym and the most ripped guy in the gym, he's doing it, and his girlfriend's doing it. She's hot, and he looks cool, and they're partying like this. So why aren't I doing it? It all makes sense. I want to be like that guy. You don't know what your internal health is. See, your health is not a guarantee. I learned that when my sister died early in life, and still I never got that lesson. We assume that if you're the aesthetic ideal that's been promoted in bodybuilding is that you're healthy. No, it means that you can perform relative to a certain set of standards by an arbitrary group of judges. Nobody on stage is healthy. They're fit. Fitness is a component of now health, not the whole thing. And now we have all this, biological optimization technology with, everything from blood sugar monitors to sleep monitors to all these things, so we can get data points that give us real-time health stuff. We kind of assume that our health is okay because we're young and we're full of piss and vinegar and we can do all that sort of stuff, what I mean? So we're I'm not like everybody else, I'm not going to age, I'm a man, blah blah blah. Especially if you take testosterone, if you're taking testosterone, that affects your brain. It puts you more into lizard man, right? Right? They don't recruit 40-year-old guys into the military. They want young guys with lots of testosterone who are ready to run at bullets and guns as somebody they don't know and get blown up. That's a good idea. It's cool because I'm with the guys. They don't fight for the country. They fight for the guys next to them. It's over this overarching component. So once you realize that, then you get into life where you're an entrepreneur. Maybe you got a family, all this stuff. So now you realize it's about performance. I've got to be able to maintain this crazy schedule. I got to be able to get up early, stay up late, be functional, be on point, be cognitive, all those things. That's a discipline. So you start training around performance. Okay, I've done the work to get to a certain place. Now I need to maintain that, and I need to continue to improve my health, cognitive health. I need to optimize my sleep. I need to make sure my digestive health is operational, because that determines how I get all the nutrients inside my system. And we built a company because we didn't know how to do these. Like, we had to figure all this stuff out. I made all the mistakes. I knew my digestions went off. Our sleep was not working out. We didn't know how to do it. Like, our whole company came out of dealing with the problems that every single person listening to this call is going to end up having. Why? It's not because I'm a genius or Matt's a genius. It's because we went through it. This is not rocket science. So we have that. And then eventually you get to a stage, especially when your friends get sick or people die around you, or your parents die, like people start going down around you, and some of them at a young age. And you're like, oh my God, what about my health? Almost every single professional athlete retires because of their health. The advantage of athletes is that at 35, you're pretty much done. Most people don't hit their stride as a business person until they're 40, which is the good news. The principles it takes you to be excellent in health can be applied, and fitness can be applied to your business. You can use those principles of discipline over time to get results, and focusing on those areas, just like you would focus on your diet, focus on your training, focus on your exercise, focusing on your fitness. You can apply that to business. You can apply that to sales. You can apply that to service. You can apply that to your relationship. You can apply that. There's all kinds of people that'll help you and learn what you need to do. Assume that you know nothing. That's a good strategy. and then you're going to get to that last stage with health. How do I preserve everything that I want? I'm a fortunate guy. I've got everything that I could possibly want in life. I've got a great life, an awesome partner, fit, I'm healthy, I've got all the parameters in there. I got a great group of friends. How did I get all that stuff? Because I fought through all my screw ups. And now I go, I don't know anything. That's my assumption. I don't know anything. Here's what I've learned in the process from other people who've been there, and I've incorporated it in my life. And so I'm confident I can go tackle just about anything that I want.
Yeah, I love that. Love that so much. Let's talk about BioOptimizers. You man, I think it was 2003, 2004 was the origin. So you're coming up on 20 years. I think I saw, 25 plus million annual revenue. Correct me if I'm wrong there, but you started this company with 100 bucks.
We're over double that now.
Amazing, amazing. I mean, that's something very few companies reach. Started with 100 bucks. What was the original problem you guys were solving? And was it supplements back then? What was the original bio optimizers?
Yeah, so here's what it starts. So what happened is I got back from the Mr. Universe contest. Matt and I had been friends and personal trainers and stuff, and we'd built a relationship over the last few years. And I got back from the Mr. Universe contest, and I went as a vegetarian with no drugs. So I won the nationals, went to the Mr. Universe in Mumbai, India, got back. And he's like, dude, this is crazy. This is super like nobody's gonna believe that you weren't on drugs and that you're on a vegetarian diet. And this is way harder to do a vegetarian diet back then. And he's like, I can sell a course online. Education courses were really big back then because there wasn't very much online. You want to help write a course? I said, I can totally write a course on how I did this. So we wrote a course. It was called Freaky Big Naturally. We started with $100 in Google Ads. I wrote the course. We recorded some CDs. I still have them, like Far Out Freaky Theories, and the favorite is the No BS Rant. We listen to it every now and then, we laugh our butts off, and we turned it out. It was an instant hit. We got lucky. We actually got cursed with that, and I'm going to tell you, we got really successful really fast. Within a year, we were one of the best selling bodybuilding courses online. We had a huge following. I was running the boards. They didn't have social media stuff. I'm running literally, they had old bulletin boards. And we moved to Panama, because we were living in the, tax free lifestyle as Canadians. And that was my dream to go. I had watched Die Hard and said, I'm sitting on a beach earning 20%. I wanted to do that program. So we moved down to Panama. And then I watched Matt literally go through what I went through 5 years before. Like, and it was like watching a train wreck in slow motion. We were fighting. He couldn't see what was going on. It was terrible. I'd end up leaving. We had a down period in that, but we had started our first supplement, Masszymes, to deal with the digestive issues that people having, and the ability to convert protein into amino acids. You don't need protein, you need the amino acids from protein. And no one can tell if I'm eating 200 grams of protein. Am I getting 200 grams of protein in my body? No, I'm probably getting 100. So as a vegetarian, I was only getting 85 grams of protein. I needed all those amino acids in order to recover. And so Masszymes became the first product. And then people started using it, and they started, oh my God, I can recover better. I'm gaining muscle better. I don't have digestive bloat. I don't have this bloating. So it became a hit. And even though our relationship went through a real dark period, our business went through a dark period, the company survived on Masszymes. Matt went into recovery. We patched up things. We restarted the company. We created a course called Muscle Mastery, which was the hyperized version of really be able to take a person from start to finish over 5 years to build a world-class physique. And then that didn't work out so much. And then I said, well, what do we do best? We fixed digestion. And we became a digestive health company. That took us to the next level. Dave Rule came in and helped us in regards to that. He's a great marketer. He was a friend of ours, also from the same part of the world. We are, I don't know what it is. If you get out of there, get out of there. And he helped rebrand us as BioOptimizers and as this new company. We'd gone from Freaky Big to Masszymes Inc. to BioOptimizers. And then we became known as the digestive health leaders. And then, we struggled for a lot of years getting things right and figuring systems out and going through it and all the people and everything. And then eventually we caught a little bit of energy and we started scaling. And then I moved to the United States because the limitations of operating out of, a banana republic were real. So I moved here about 5 years ago, and we've over 50x the company since that time.
Yeah, incredible, man. Congrats. No, story is remarkable, and I think it's a good sign for the people that are out there and like in the early stages. You know, very rarely does the journey of entrepreneurship or business building look exactly like you sat down the first time and kind of planned it out. It's like you got these ebbs and flows and rebranding 3 times and partner disputes. And you know, it's great you connect with Dave. I met Dave. I think, you know, he was the or his original thing was like the anabolic cooking type of thing, I think, that he did. And yeah, Dave's incredible. And you know, I know guys like Vince and Westerdahl and all those guys. Like, I spent a little bit of time in the ebook program business. I was a little bit late to getting into that, so never really had huge success. Let's talk about Breakthrough. You know, we've been, you know, promoting you guys with Magnesium Breakthrough. It's something I originally found you guys through Mass Times in 2017 as well. I think it was BPAC, Ben Pekulski was talking about. And I was like, I was eating so much, pounds and pounds of meat. I'm like, there's something here. And I remember immediately just feeling cleaner energy, and like I was actually processing all the food that I was taking in. Talk about Breakthrough though. Like, what is the role that magnesium specifically plays, and how is the Breakthrough supplementation different than everything else that is out there?
So there's a couple things. When we got started in the supplement industry, I had my own supplement store. I'd worked in every level of it, from manufacturing to representing it to owning my own store to repping brand, like the whole industry on the way up. So doing all these different sales positions and service positions and operations positions. And I realized 95% of the companies were absolute garbage. They were basically slapping a white label with unknown levels of ingredients and testing because it was a trend that was catching fire because so and so was using it and everybody thought that was going to be the key to make all their dreams come true. And but then there was also, on the other side of it, I knew maybe 5% of the companies that were founder led, people that had suffered from some sort of problem, went on a hero's journey, solved that problem, and started making it available from the kitchen of their house or the garage, or doing like literally these organic companies. And so I started meeting all these entrepreneurs that were doing this, and I would sell the products in the store, and I love the store, and I'd meet them, and I'd get on. And I was like, okay, that's what. So we decided that we were going to make the best products possible. So we hired world-class formulators from the best company available, and we said we're going to make the premium. And we were told we can't do this. It's too expensive. It doesn't deal with the margin. We're like, we don't care. We're building this to work, and we'll figure it out after. And when we started Mass Times, we had to pre-order. We didn't have any money, so we had to have clients pre-order 2 months in advance, pay $500 for the supplements. This is 20 years ago, if you can believe this. And they were excited to get all their bottles and take it. That's how, like, the cool thing is we started out in the bodybuilder market, and bodybuilders by nature are extremely hardcore, disciplined, almost psychopathic freaks. I love that. And I love that. I love that part. I'm never going to get rid of it. And I love that. If that's in you and stuff, you've got what it takes to be successful. You can apply it anywhere. And that guy that told me that was right. So as we went along, we kept adding to it with the probiotics. We started adding other various products, and we had that same principle. Let's go find the best formulator. Let's put this together. Let's make the best in the market and sell it at a premium. It doesn't have mass appeal, but we're going to go with the people that works, because we believe that a customer that stays, like that we get, are going to stay with us longer, and it's going to work out over time, even though that we don't have the margins of other companies, the turn them and burn them types. That foundation saved our company through all the dark times, because we had a loyal, almost cult-like following that said, I can't live without this product. And the elite of the elite, you know, the Vince Del Montes and the Ben Pekulskis and the Natalie Coellas and, the, the big Ramis and all those kind of, like, all of these secretly were using our products because the problem in bodybuilding, and I understood this, was eating the food. They all ended up problems with their digestive systems. That's what takes most people out. So they started using this to fix it. Dexter Jackson found that out. Like, you can go on down the list. So from that, we then eventually got to a place where we got our own lab. So we have a lab, a microbiology lab in Bosnia. It's called the Birch International University. We have 20 master students and PhDs that are running all of the experience that other nutritional supplement companies can't do. They're basing their information on lab assays, which says it's got this ingredients. They don't know if they're biologically available. They don't know if they cross the gastrointestinal tract. They don't know if they get in the cells. We actually can see if it does. And guess what? Here's the big aha. You could read research on this herb or this product and a double-blind study on it and stuff, and you might have an 80%, a 20%, 100% thing. And that's not relevant to see whether it's active. I've seen 100% pure products, like 100% of this ingredient, be totally useless. and a 20% of that same product, the same stuff, more effective. Now, I'm using that as an extreme example. And then there's cofactors, and then there's bacteria factors, because we're not feeding our cells, we feed the bacteria, and then they convert everything into. So people don't understand this in digestion. So because we got lucky and got focused on this, and then we hired like literally PhDs in this area to do these experiments, this position BioOptimizers is a brand that can make things that other people couldn't do. One of the areas that we identified with magnesium is we knew that there was a massive deficiency in North America. And I did my own testing. We looked at brain testing, we look at serum blood levels, and I was taking magnesium and I became deficient in my brain. I burned out on entrepreneurship. I was running 3 companies at the same time, staying in shape, doing all this. Like, I burnt myself out. And when I did my checkups, I was low in magnesium. I'm like, I'm taking magnesium. How is this possible? And it affected my brain. It affected my energy. It affected my stress level. It affected my sleep. So we've just bought every single magnesium there was on the market. We bought them all. And then we took them. This is a principle by Linus Pauling. We just took them until we blew the gastrointestinal tract out. You just keep increasing the doses until you get the rounds. Okay, that's the limit on that. We can take 2 grams of this. Okay, let's do the next one. Okay, we can take 2.5 grams of that. Oh, we can only do 500 grams of that, milligrams of that, or whatever. I should say milligrams, not grams. Anyways, all down the process, we found out that we could combine different magnesiums to get more into the blood serum levels, and we were able to prove that in the lab through experimentation. And that's where Magnesium Breakthrough was born. And now it's become the fastest growing magnesium in the market in the world. It's the number one increase in sales in retail, and it's the number one online. So like we're just blowing up with that product because everybody's taking it and they're going, oh my God, this is so much better than other magnesiums. It feels so good on it. I'm sleeping better. I have more energy. I'm stronger in the gym, right? I'm not getting headaches. I feel more calm. Caffeine isn't making me all jittery and stimulants and stuff. I feel good. I feel calm. I don't have anxious, and it's been a runaway bestseller.
Yeah, I love it so much. I mean, it's definitely had it's been a great addition to my supplement regimen, taking it before bed at night, calm, relaxation, deep sleep. I feel like I hit the pillow and I'm immediately out. What are some signs that people can look for to know if they are deficient? And then obviously we have a great offer for you guys out there on Magnesium Breakthrough. But yeah, it's kind of wrapping up here. Like, what should people, or is it for everybody? Like, does everybody need to be supplementing with magnesium?
If you live in North America, we don't get enough of it in your soil, and I don't care how good your diet is, you're probably not going to get enough. The other thing is, if you're taking caffeine in your life, that reduces your ability to absorb and utilize magnesium significantly. So those 2 components are depleting us. Um, so what you're going to notice, if you have trouble sleeping, you feel groggy when you wake up in the morning, if you have muscle cramping, if you have headaches, if you have heart arrhythmia, if your blood sugar is not stable, all of these are in magnesium is a cofacting element involved in over 300 metabolic processes. You know, uh, if your lady's having really problem with cramps and PMS issues, she probably has deficient magnesium because she's dumping magnesium at a higher rate. Women are really it's impacted by it. So yeah, it's and the good news is if anybody's tried magnesium or hasn't tried magnesium, we give 100% money back guarantee. If you don't feel the difference after a first couple of weeks, we just give you your money back. That's how confident we are. It makes a difference in people's lives. And by the way, we have the lowest refund rate in the world. I know this.
Yeah, with that offer. Yeah, you definitely do. Yeah, with that offer, that's what definitely separates you guys from everybody else out there. Guys, visit biooptimizers.com/Frank Rich. Discount code Rich10 is going to give you 10% off of whatever order. If you pick up 1 bottle, if you pick up 3, if they have bundles for 6, that incredibly discount the price. But biooptimizers.com/Frank Rich. Code Rich10 is going to give you 10% off. And like Wade said, 360, I believe it's a 365-day money back
Yes, it is.
guarantee, or is it got to be?
Yep.
Yeah. So you have a 1-year trial. Yeah, one year trial. Wait, I know we're coming up on the end here. Last question. We like to end every episode here with: what does living a Superman life mean to you?
Yeah, great. Thank you for that question, by the way. I think about this a lot. It's about slaying the dragons in your life and seeking out the next one. Every single person that lives that listens to this has a dragon in your life. There's 4 elements. There's 4 elements in every hero's journey. Okay? There's the victim. That's the people that get stuck in the village when the dragon gets burnt down. There's the villain. The villain is usually someone who was a victim and decide to be negative about it and start hurting other people. Okay? There is the hero and the mentor. The mentor is the wizard. that comes in and stirs things up and starts leading you on the path. Okay? Whatever it is in your life, make more money, get a girlfriend, be fit. Somewhere in there, there's a trauma, there's a dragon that's come to your life. When you go ask that girl and you don't feel confident enough, when you go and want to ask for the sale and you don't feel that you can get it, when you want to go to that position and job, or you look in the gym and you don't like how you look at it, there's a dragon of self-confidence that's in there. And you can overcome that if you go on the adventure and seek it out. Find a mentor to help you overcome that particular piece and listen to that mentor over and over and over, and put yourself in an environment where you are immersed in those belief systems of success until that's all you know. There's nothing else. You will experience frustration. You will experience setbacks. You will, like you go on the adventure, there's all kinds of other things before you even get to the dragon to deal with. They're going to come up and face it. But this is the call to adventure of your life. Everybody's got a dragon. The biggest, best, most successful people in the world, and I'm friends with a lot of them, they come to me with their dragons. They're no different than anybody else. More money, better fitness, more women. That's not going to make a difference. What's going to make a difference is slaying those dragons one after another. And life is about slaying dragons. Slay the dragons of deception in your life. Slay the dragons that keep you limited. Slay those dragons that are coming there. And it's okay if you got a dragon in your life. In fact, it's an opportunity that's calling you to find the greatness within you. And you will only become superhuman when you're willing to fail and go after that dragon, because that is your destiny. That dragon is your secret. So what you think is the biggest obstacle in your life, that's the dragon. Go after it. Get your sword out. Find yourself a mentor and get that thing and get the girl and get the goal.
Amen. And the bigger the dragon, the bigger the reward, the bigger the fulfillment on the other side of that is. Wade, this has been incredible. Guys, great book on this as well. I don't know if you've read it, Wade, but I know you will love this. Donald Miller, Hero on a Mission. If you are unsure of where you are in this journey and which one you are, which role you are playing in your life right now, Donald's book, Hero on a Mission, will outline it for you and how to take that journey and apply it to your business, to your marketing, to your life, to your transformation, whatever it is. Wade, this has been incredible. So glad we got a chance to connect with you and bring you on here today. Guys, biooptimizers.com/Frank Rich. We'll have all the information for Wade and his team and all the great products that they are doing and creating out there with BioOptimizers. But guys, share this episode, like, rate, review, subscribe. But for Wade Lightheart, founder of BioOptimizer, host, Coach Frank Rich here. We love you guys. And we'll see you in the next one.